In 1974, one award announcement changed everything for Loretta Lynn. Foreign pop star beat her for country music's biggest honor, and Loretta never forgave Nashville for it. She started a rebellion that split the industry in two. But that was just the beginning. Duet partners backstage betrayal left her standing alone under the lights. Gospel icon's last-minute rejection broke her heart. And a rivalry with another female legend was so toxic they couldn't even be in the same studio. The truth about who Loretta really hated will shock you. Loretta Lynn was born on April 14, 1932 in Butcher Hollow, Kentucky, place so tucked away in the Appalachian Mountains that neighbors called it Holler. She came into the world not in a hospital but in a tiny two-room log cabin her father had built by hand. The woman who delivered her was known as Old Aunt Harriet, an 80-year-old blind midwife who had already helped bring more than 100 babies into the world. Loretta later said she was named after the movie star Loretta Young, but her start was anything but glamorous. The cabin had no electricity and no running water, and in the winter snow drifted through the cracks in the roof. She learned to walk barefoot on rough wooden floors, sometimes hungry but always determined. Her father, Melvin Ted Webb, spent his days in the Vanlier coal mines. The job was dangerous and exhausting. Many times he had to crawl on his hands and knees through tunnels just 3 feet high. He worked more than 10 hours a day for only $18 a week, a small sum to feed a family of 10. Some weeks, they barely managed on just $1 a day. Her mother, Clara, worked tirelessly to keep food on the table while raising 8 children. Shoes and bacon became prizes that the Webb children fought over. Years in the mines gave Melvin black lung disease and he died at only 52. As the second oldest, Loretta carried heavy responsibility from a young age. She hauled water, cared for her siblings, and worked in the family's small fields. That fight for survival would shape not only her life but the raw truth in her music. Just 15 years old, Loretta married Oliver Doolittle Lynn, a 21-year-old war veteran known for his wild streak. The two had met at a pie social where Doolittle bid on her pie and won. Just a month later, on January 10, 1948, they were married. By the time she turned 16, she was pregnant with their first child. By 29, she was a mother of 6, including a set of twins. Their marriage was stormy. Doolittle drank heavily, disappeared for stretches of time, and had a fiery temper. Loretta often said, "He never hit me once. I didn't hit him back twice." Their nearly 50 years together were full of love, fights, and struggles, and that complicated marriage inspired some of her most powerful songs. When she turned 18 in 1953, Doolittle gave her a gift that would change her life forever. It was a used guitar from Sears that cost $17. With no lessons, Loretta taught herself how to play by watching local musicians and listening to Carter family records. On the radio, she practiced for hours, wearing down the neck of the guitar with her relentless strumming. That plain, second-hand instrument opened the door to her first performances in small venues, and her self-taught style became part of the legend that would follow her. In 1952, the family packed up and moved to Custer, Washington, a town with fewer than 300 people. Doolittle took dangerous logging jobs while Loretta did laundry, cleaned houses, and canned vegetables to feed her children. With no babysitter, she brought her kids along as she performed at local bars, dance halls, and honky-tonks. The crowds were rough, but night after night, Loretta held her own. These early shows built her fierce stage presence. By the late 1950s, she had grown so confident that even Nashville stars would later say her fire and sharp wit changed the game for women in country music. In February 1960, Loretta took her biggest gamble yet. She and Doolittle drove from Washington to Los Angeles so she could record a song she had written called I'm a Honky-Tonk Girl. The session was held in a small Hollywood studio and they had to pay the musicians out of pocket. Afterward, they drove thousands of miles across the country, sleeping in their car and eating whatever they could afford, handling records to radio stations. Sometimes they begged DJs just to give the song a chance. Their determination worked. That summer, I'm a Honky-Tonk Girl broke into the Billboard Country Charts Top 20, peaking at number 14. The hit earned Loretta an invitation to perform at the Grand Ole Opry, dream for any country singer. On September 3, 1961, Loretta's career took a giant leap forward when she signed with Decca Records at just 22 years old. Nashville executives were stunned by her unpolished sound and the fact that she wrote her own songs at a time when most female artists were expected to be polite and polished. Loretta sang with a raw honesty that couldn't be ignored. Within a year, she released her first album, Loretta Lynn Sings, and her first single with Decca. Success reached the top 10. Over the next decade, she released more than 50 singles with Decca that made the top 10, more than any other woman in country music. Success hit the charts in April 1962, reaching number 6 on Billboard's country list and staying there for 16 weeks. Written by Johnny Mullins, the song marked a turning point in country music. At a time when women in country were expected to sing sweetly about love, Loretta sang about real problems, like broken marriages and disappointment. Her voice carried the weight of a woman's real struggles, and listeners couldn't get enough. That single cemented her place as country's most relatable and outspoken female artist. A decade later, on October 16, 1972, Loretta made history as the first woman ever to win the Country Music Association's Entertainer of the Year award. Before her, the honor had only gone to men. She won against Merle Haggard, Freddie Hart, Charlie Pride, and Jerry Reed. By then, she had already released 25 top 10 hits and multiple chart-topping albums. When she accepted the award, she did so with humility, joking that her husband missed